The long-awaited how to make your own baby Purpp video. Now, I've had hundreds of comments and questions asking me how I made it, and to some people it's really plain and simple how to make an account like this. So to you people, this video probably will not apply to you, but to others, they don't have as much of a clue and they need a guide, and this will be your guide. Now, straight up, this is my baby Purpp. I have 50 attack, 70 strength, 75 range, 85 mage, 52 pret. The basis of this account is that it's based around being a low level, no on a pure PKer. So, you know, I'm 64 combat with TB and like high combat stats, you know. This account can have nearly 80 strength and 85 range as well, but I just haven't had the time to do it yet. So, the basis of this account is low level, no on a hybriding, and you can kill anyone pretty much, and there's so much loot at this level. The requirements for this account are pretty much when you start it, you need at least 10 mil cash. This will supply the AUX, this will supply the cannon and the cannonballs, supply all your gear for training and shit like that. You're going to need a lot of time and shit like that, so yeah. So obviously, first things first, you're going to spawn in Umbridge. You're not going to have anything, but you're going to have your other account trade over a basis of teleports, cash, runes, you know, staminas, all shit like that. Your first pretty much 5 hours on this account are going to be straight out questing. If possible, also bring a mage switch, which is like just your normal mage setup with enough runes to get 13 mage. Once you have 13 mage, you can either make the decision to do Witch's House for the increased hit points level, which I'd advise for beginners, or if you're more experienced, I'd recommend staying lower HP, and we're going to start our first quest. This is quite a cheap mage setup, which you can achieve at the earliest levels of the game. This will cost you no more than $1 mil, obviously substituting the saradomin staff for a fire staff because you're not going to be able to have that, this amount of runes. And if you're doing Witch's House, you start the quest here with a full inventory of cake, cheese, leather gloves, and runes, obviously. Now for the more experienced, you're going straight up and starting Waterfall. So obviously you start Waterfall quest here with the required items. I'm not going to obviously teach you how to do the quest. It's a very easy quest. And because you have low HP, when you go down into the tombstone in Waterfall, what you can do is hit a skeleton down here first, and then going across, because otherwise a moss giant can kill you in one hit, so just be careful. At one point during the Waterfall quest, you have to go down this ladder to get the pebble. Whilst you're at this part of the quest, I also recommend just starting Tree Gnome Village by going in here, talking to the king, and yeah. You won't be finishing Tree Gnome Village yet, you'll be focusing on Waterfall, but it makes it easier coming back to here because you can talk to this little cunt to get inside the maze. So now that you've finished the Waterfall quest, you're going to teleport to Castle Wars and you're going to come over to Tree Gnome Village. Now once you're in here, start the quest, do the quest, finish the quest. Now you'll still have low HP when you're doing the Tree Gnome Village, so when you're attacking the Khazad Warlord, each time you cast at him, so let me see if I can attack any of these. No, I can't. When you cast at him, you have to run away at the same time you attack him so that he doesn't attack you. It's a very simple concept and you'll get it after the first hit. Just make sure you don't take damage, otherwise you can die. The next quest you'll be doing is Fight Arena. To start this quest, talk to Lady Serval, and this quest will give you extra attack XP. The reason we're doing all these quests early are because they give no hit points XP and you can get easy stats. Remember how I said hit points is basically the main thing about this account, it has to be kept low. So now you're roughly around 1 hour to 2 hours into the account, and the quests you should have done are Fight Arena, Waterfall, Tree Gnome Village, and potentially the Witch's House if you opted for the extra hit points HP. Now, that's part of the quest grind out of the way, but now is the first killing grind. This part will literally kill you, it's fucking boring as anything. You have to get 1 to 10 agility here, 10 to 20 agility at Draenor, 20 to 30 at Alcarid. And once you finish that, I'm pretty sure that's enough because Grand Tree will give you 31 from the quest reward. So now that you've spent 3 hours pulling your hair out training agility, we're now starting the Grand Tree. Once you've finished the Grand Tree, the next quest you need to do is Dwarf Cannon. It's a very easy quest, so just come and do that, and then buy your cannon here as well. So once you finish the Dwarf Cannon, you're going to either be around 30 combat or around 40 combat. And depending on what combat you are, depends on what you're going to do next. If you're above 40 combat now, I recommend going and getting a Slayer task from Vanaka in the Edgefield dungeon. If you're below 40 combat, go and get a task in Purpp, and whilst in Purpp you'll be doing the rock climbers quest. The quest is started here in Purpp, talking to Denulf, and this is where you can get your Slayer assignment. I'll open the map so you guys can see. It's just on the east side of Purpp. What you're doing now is getting the stats required to start Animal Magnetism. I think it's 22 Slayer, but I got 26 just to finish my task, 21 crafting, and 36 woodcutting. Now the reason why it's important to get your Slayer task before you start the quest is because you need a minimum of 30 ranged and 20. So this is an extremely important part about training your account. Because you're going to be such low level, your first Slayer task could be anything. So let's say for example you get ogres, which is quite a common task. You need to set your cannon up and then get to a spot where the ogres can't hit you, so you're safe spotting them. So for example right now none of them can get to me, but my cannon can still reach them. And then I click on the cannon to fire it, and then it'll attack. Now the reason the cannon is important for training is because, as you can see, I'm getting quite good XP, but I'm not getting any hit points XP. So by doing this, we keep our level really low, and yeah. Obviously, because it's hybriding, you don't want to keep your hit points at 10. For earlier levels, you do want to favor lower hit points. Like for example, right now I'm 67. It's really high for my level because a lot of people have these sort of builds already. So if you're making a pure to be around level 60, you want your hit points to be around level 60. So just try and calculate your account to work out that way. So for me personally, I found that it was best to cannon my range up till I was about 50 to 60, and then I trained normally. And that was how I also gained my hit points. So once you finish your task, you should have at the very minimum 20 Slayer. If not, get another task and repeat. Your range should also be above level 30 by now. Next thing you're going to want to do is teleport to Lumbridge, start the Restless Ghost. Very simple quest, and once you finish that, you're doing the Draenor questline. So obviously teleport to Draenor with your glory, run north, and start the quest. The quest being Ernest the Chicken. The next quest after you finish Ernest the Chicken will be Priest in Peril. Priest in Peril is started in Varrock in the palace, just in this eastern room just here. The next boring stat grind starts right now. You have to get 36 woodcutting. I train 1 to 15 on these trees just southwest of the Grand Exchange because it's very easy. And then once I hit 15 woodcutting, I come to these 3 oak trees in a circle just here. It's just southeast of the GE, and I'm training here until I get to 30 woodcutting. You can stay here to 36 if you're lazy, but if not, teleport to Draenor and you're cutting willows till 36. The willows are found just behind the bank, obviously, just over here. Just here. The next grind is 21 crafting. It's really quick, it's not even a grind. All you do is buy leather, tanned leather, it's in the G, it's quite cheap. So you buy, I think it's about 200 for that level, so leather. 200 of these, it's 30k. You just need a needle and thread and you craft the highest armor that you can. You now have all the requirements to start Animal Magnetism, and this quest should not take you more than an hour. So once you finish that, you're looking pretty good. So your quest at the moment should be looking very, very similar to how mine are now. You should have Ernest the Chicken finished, Restless Ghost finished, Animal Magnetism finished, Death Plateau finished, Dwarf Cannon, Fight Arena, Grand Tree, not Horror from the Deep yet, Priest in Peril, Tree Gnome Village, Waterfall, and maybe Witch's House. Now comes the decision whether or not you want to have 52 or 44 prayer. Now 44 prayer, I think, to 52 can sometimes be the difference of 1 to 2 combat levels. So 44 prayer is obviously for Eagle Eye, and 45 if you want Mystic Might. Personally, I don't think it's worth getting Mystic Might if you're going to stick with 44. If you're that antsy over the combat level, I'd stay 44. But personally, for me, because of the amount of unskilled players at this combat level, having Smite is really good because a lot of people don't watch their prayer and you can smite a lot of +1s, especially because people have 25 prayer accounts. So it's my personal recommendation to get Smite. So now that you've made your decision on what prayer level you want, you come to Rimington, which is southwest of Falador. You're going to change worlds to world 30. Put your public to auto chat and you can see that people are advertising their houses. So this guy's name's Jehobo. Sorry, I forgot to mention, but your inventory should look like mine. The way this works is you use the bones on this guy called Files, exchange all, and you've got yourself a free full inventory. You go into the house, so friend's house, Jehobo, obviously it's going to be different for you, for whoever is open at the time. you'll see he'll have an altar and there'll be a lot of people using bones on them. So obviously I've already got 52 prayer, so I'm not going to use the bones, but all you have to do is click use dragon bones on the altar. Now what you want to do is you want to be careful that these are always lit, these incense burners. So you get 260 XP if they're unlit, and I think it's 310 if they're lit. I'm not 100% on that, but make sure these are always lit, otherwise you're losing XP. So now that you have either 44 or 52 prayer, you're going to teleport out of there using the thing in their house, or the glory on your neck. So now that you have both 44 or 52 prayer and an avers, you're going to have gear looking like mine. Obviously not the ballista, but the way the cannon works is the damage it deals scales off the amount of attack range bonus you have. So this is a really cheap setup. I'm going to say you don't have 65 range now, so the best possible bow can be incorporated for the ballista there. You're going to bring your cannon up to the rock crab, with obviously more cannonballs than 32, but that's just for the sake of the video. And now, if you have another account, so I'm saying 99% of you will, you're going to bring the other account up with you, because you're going to be less than, say, I'm going to say you're going to be no higher than 30 hit points at the moment. The damage from the rock crabs, you don't think it's going to add up, but it is going to impact your trips. So what you should do is bring up another account with you. Obviously, because this account's 67 hit points, I don't need to, so I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. So once you get to the rock crabs, you want to set your cannon up just here. Now, the way the cannon works at rock crabs is it'll attack every single rock crab that's aggroed. So what you have to do is run around and hit every single rock. Now you see I've got high hit points, but they're still hitting me quite frequently. So you can imagine if I had low hit points, I wouldn't want to be taking these hits. So what you would do if you had low hit points is just stand under your multi-cannon on a spot where no other rocks spawn, and you have your other account logged in at the same time, and you just run around and aggro them while your account stands here taking no damage. The XP here is really quickly. You'll go from like say 30 range to 60, 70 plus range really quickly. However, I'd recommend staying here to your maybe 60, 65. Once you're 60 to 65 range, stop your training, and now you're going to start training Mage. Because of the Mage that you use during the quests, you're going to be roughly 20 to 30 Mage at the moment, depending on how you hit. The way we're training Mage is we're teleporting. Teleports don't give any hit points XP and 35 XP a cast, and you can cast really fucking quickly. What you want to do is just progress through, use the highest teleport possible, obviously Varrock, Lumbridge, then Falador, and then finally Camelot. This is going to be quite expensive, but it is very quick. Like, look at this, 55 XP a pop. It's very close to alking. So once you've hit 55 Mage, obviously now you're going to be alking. You're going to want to go to the Grand Exchange and pick up both a Fire Staff and a Mud Battle Staff, or a Mystic Mud Staff, whatever is cheaper. At this point, it's the Mud Battle Staff. You're going to want to buy a setup similar to this. You're going to have to make sure that your attack bonus for magic is lower than minus 68 or minus 68. This is so that you'll splash every hit. This armor set only comes into play once you hit 66 magic for vulnerability, but until then, you'll be alking. Now, at the time of making the video, ruby bracelets are the best thing to alk. So, while you're alking, you can literally do anything. Go have a wank, go do whatever you want. Just make sure you're consistently alking. You're going to be doing this all the way to 66, so it is going to take some time. I think it'll take you pretty much around 3 to 4 hours. So, once you've hit 66 Mage, you unlock vulnerability. This requires soul runes to use, so you have to buy them from the Green Exchange. Now, the reason we're doing this is because you can both alk and cast this on pretty much the same tick. So see what I'm doing here? I alk, and then I cast vulnerability, and then I alk again. And you see, because of my armor set, I'm not actually hitting the vulnerability, which means I can keep casting it. Obviously, you're going to keep doing this until you get to the next ability. The next ability is Enfeeble. After Enfeeble, you can either Entangle or go straight to Stun. You'll be doing this all the way to 85 Mage, so get used to it, guys. I'd recommend taking a break through either just normally alking, stuff like that. Give your hand a break because it does get fucking tiring after a while. And obviously, make sure you equip your Mud Staff. Don't use the Fire Staff like I did, like an idiot. So once you get to 85 Mage, you've finished the Mage grind. Don't get impatient and PK before this because you're wasting your time. Once you finish 85 Mage, you can now complete the Horror from the Deep. Your agility will be around the same level as mine, which is 31, which means you need to buy a summer pie and eat it to boost your agility to get into the Barbarian Outpost agility area to complete Horror from the Deep. Horror from the Deep is really easy with a really high mage and range level. Don't worry about getting HP XP in there, it's not a big deal. So now that you've got the book and you picked the Unholy book or the Zammy book, which is what you should pick, you're now going to be training both your range and melee. The best way to train your range is with mithril darts and this setup. This setup is the best for poorer people. Obviously, I didn't have a coif in my bank. Don't use a leather cow, get a coif. Maximum range attack bonus is what you're looking for here. Obviously, those with more money, you know what you can buy. You can get the Fury, the Robin Hood, the Ranger's Tunic, the Ranger boots. If you've got the money, fork out for it. But I find this setup is fine for low levels who just need the training. What you need to buy is a bunch of pineapple pizza because this will be your best food at your level. You're going to want to bring 3 range pots and then the rest pineapple pizzas. We're going to be doing our training at sand crabs, and the best way to get to sand crabs is to buy a skills necklace and teleport to the Woodcutting Guild. The Woodcutting Guild teleports you to here, and the sand crabs are here. So all you have to do is go up, around, and down. Once you teleport here, bank your skills necklace, drink a sip of stamina, and get an extra range pot out. So now your inventory should look a little like this. This is the sand crabs. So I'll show you on the map where we are. I'm just a little bit east of the bank here. Now, the way sand crabs work, it's like rock crabs. They're rocks, you stand near them and they'll start attacking you. So I'll stand here next to these two, they start attacking me, I drink a range pot and I start training. Obviously I need auto retaliate on so I can AFK, come back in 5 minutes from doing whatever I want and I'm done. And I'm getting crashed already. As much as it's a good idea to have a 4 spot like this, it's called a 4 spot because all 4 of these will attack you if you stand near it. It's not that good for an account of your level. At around 60 range, you'll only be able to kill 3 crabs before they spawn, so any more than that would just mean you have to eat more food. Which basically means you have a shorter trip. You'll be training like this all the way up to whatever range that you need to be. So, now that you've finished training range to whatever level you want to train it to, you're going to start training your melee stats. So, this is a pretty good setup for a cheap, someone who's poor. Obviously, you're going to substitute the Brine Saber out for whatever is the best at your level, going Addy Sim, Rune Sim, and then obviously Brine Saber. It's completely up to you what you want to do with your combat stats in terms of your strength and attack. I'd recommend if you're making a baby pure to not go above 50 attack because the Gmaul is more than enough for what you want to do. And that's it. That's basically all I did for making this account. Nothing extra at all. It's really simple. Obviously, you do need to learn how to hybrid to make this account perform at its full potential. It's not necessarily a good account for Edgefield PKing. 52 prayer is not good there. Our stats aren't good there. And this was my first sort of guide thing. I don't know if I made it properly. I don't know if it's easy to understand, but I hope it is. And I hope this account is enjoyable for you to PK on because it's really fucking fun for me. Use combat calculators and stuff like that to determine what the best levels are for your account and how you can get there. And obviously, if you have time on your hands, I do recommend training your range with a cannon and your strength with a Method on Zaya, which I actually don't do, so I'm not too sure on it. But if you're like me and you're a bit lazier, it's a good idea to train your strength and range at Sand Crab. Let me know what you thought of the video though, guys. I am interested in making a guide on how to learn how to know on a hybrid Tribrid PK. If anyone's interested in that, let me know. It'd probably be a bit more in depth than this.